My name is Rachel Porter, and I've been a nurse in the emergency room for over 12 years. I've spent my entire career witnessing the fragility and resilience of human life. From the chaotic intensity of saving someone's life to the heartbreaking moments of holding a hand as someone takes their last breath, I've seen it all. In my line of work, everything is grounded in science, facts, and tangible evidence. I've always relied on what I can see, hear, and prove. Honestly, I used to think that stories about near-death experiences were exaggerated, if not entirely fabricated. If someone had told me a year ago that I'd be sitting here, sharing a story about dying and coming back with a message from Jesus, I would have laughed. I probably would have politely changed the subject and moved on. But on April 3rd, 2023, everything I thought I knew about life, death, and faith was completely turned upside down. What happened that day wasn't just an experience, it was a transformation. It shattered my previous understanding of the world and showed me truths that I can't keep to myself. That's why I'm here, sharing this story with you. That day started just like any other, but looking back, it was anything but ordinary. The night before, I had trouble sleeping. My mind was racing with thoughts about my son Caleb's soccer game earlier that evening. He had played so well, and I couldn't stop replaying the proud smile on his face, but mixed in with those warm memories were the endless worries of everyday life, bills to pay, shifts to cover at the hospital, and the never-ending to-do list that seemed to grow overnight. By the time morning came, I felt restless, like I needed to clear my head. So, I decided to go for a jog. Running had always been my way of finding some peace in the chaos, and that morning felt like the perfect opportunity to reset. The streets in my neighborhood were eerily quiet, wrapped in the stillness of the early pre-dawn hours. A light fog hung in the air, softening the glow of the streetlights and making everything feel calm and crisp. It was the kind of morning where you could hear your own breathing and the rhythmic sound of your sneakers hitting the pavement. As I ran, I glanced at my watch. 5:12 a.m. It struck me how completely ordinary everything felt. Just another run to start another day. But that illusion of normalcy shattered in an instant. I was crossing a quiet street, lost in my thoughts, when it happened. Out of nowhere, a car came speeding toward me. Later, I would learn that the driver had been distracted looking at their phone. But in that moment, I had no time to react. I don't remember the impact. I don't remember pain or the sound of the crash. There was no time to process what was happening. One moment, I was alive and running, and the next, everything stopped. I wasn't in my body anymore. I wasn't on that street. I was somewhere else entirely. The moment I left my body, I expected darkness, maybe silence. After all, as a nurse, I had seen death up close many times. But what I experienced was nothing like I expected. Instead of darkness, I was surrounded by light. But it wasn't light like we know it here on Earth. It wasn't harsh or artificial, nor was it the bright glare of the sun. This light was alive. It radiated warmth and love, wrapping itself around me like the softest embrace. This light didn't just illuminate the space around me, it illuminated me. It reached into my very soul, and for the first time in my life, I felt truly seen, completely known, completely loved. And then, I noticed something else. Everything I had carried with me in life, fear, pain, worry, was gone. The constant pressure in my chest from stress and anxiety vanished. The aches in my body, the burdens on my mind, they melted away completely. I felt free in a way I never thought possible. It was like I had stepped into a place where I truly belonged, a place I had been searching for my whole life without even realizing it. I didn't feel like I was lost or floating. I felt grounded, yet weightless, whole, complete. Then I began to see colors more vivid and radiant than anything I'd ever encountered. These weren't just shades or hues. They were alive, moving and pulsing with their own energy. There were colors that don't exist in our spectrum, colors I can't even begin to describe. But it wasn't just the sight of these colors that overwhelmed me. It was what they carried. Each one seemed to have its own meaning, its own emotion. They weren't just beautiful. They were communicating something, as if they were alive with their own story to tell. And then there was the music. I don't know where it came from because it wasn't coming from any one place. It was everywhere, surrounding me, flowing through me. It wasn't made by instruments or voices as we know them, but it was the most perfect harmony I had ever heard. It wasn't just music, it was worship. Each note resonated with my soul in a way I can't explain. It wasn't just sound, it was love, reverence, and majesty, all woven together into something beyond comprehension. In that moment, I didn't just hear the music, I became a part of it. It wasn't separate from me. It was a part of this living, breathing realm I found myself in. I can't tell you how long I stood there, enveloped by the light, the colors, and the music. Time didn't seem to exist there. All I know is that I didn't want to leave. I was home. As I stood there, completely immersed in the light, the colors, and the music, I became aware of something else, someone else. At first, it was a feeling, a presence. I didn't see him immediately, but I knew exactly who it was. There was no doubt in my mind. It was Jesus. I can't describe him to you in the way you might expect. It wasn't about his physical appearance, though I sensed his form. What I felt was far more powerful than what I saw. His presence was overwhelming, so full of love, compassion, and authority that it left me completely undone. The love that radiated from him was unlike anything I had ever experienced before. It wasn't the kind of love we talk about here on Earth. Not conditional, not earned, not fleeting. It was absolute. It was perfect. I felt his love wrap around me like the light itself, filling every corner of my being. In his presence, I felt fully known. Every fear, every mistake, every flaw I had ever carried was exposed before him, and yet none of it mattered. He didn't look at me with judgment or disappointment. He looked at me with love. And then, as I stood there in his presence, I felt something else, his authority. It wasn't harsh or intimidating. It was powerful but gentle, a quiet strength that commanded reverence. I understood without words that he wasn't just a part of this realm. He was this realm. Everything I had seen and felt, the light, the colors, the music, all of it flowed from him. Then he spoke. Not with words as we know them, but directly to my soul. His voice wasn't something I heard. It was something I felt. Every word carried weight, love, and truth that went deeper than anything I could have imagined. He made it clear that what I was experiencing wasn't just for me. "This is not the end," he told me. "You have been brought here for a reason. What you are about to see must be shared. The world needs to know." It wasn't a request, it was a mission. I knew in that moment that my life could never go back to the way it was. What I had seen, what I had felt, and what I was about to be shown. It wasn't just for me. It was for humanity. As Jesus stood before me, his love and authority wrapping around me like the light itself, he began to show me what was to come. These weren't vague impressions or fleeting glimpses. They were vivid, undeniable visions, each carrying a profound truth about what humanity will face in the near future. He revealed 4 major events that will unfold in 2025. Each one was filled with meaning, urgency, and a call to action for all of us. The first vision was one of hope. I saw people all over the world begin to seek truth and faith like never before. It was as if a collective awakening swept across humanity, touching hearts that had been hardened or distracted for years. I saw individuals in every corner of the earth, from bustling cities to quiet villages, dropping to their knees in prayer. Many of them had never turned to God before, but something deep inside them, an inner yearning, was pulling them closer. This awakening wasn't easy. It forced people to confront their beliefs and question the values they had clung to for so long. Some resisted, afraid to let go of the comfortable lies they had built their lives around. But others embraced it, and in doing so, they found a peace and purpose they had never known. The vision filled me with hope. It was a reminder that even in the darkest times, God is always calling us back to Him, always offering us the chance to turn toward the light. The second vision was much more turbulent. I saw the earth itself in turmoil. There were earthquakes that split the ground apart, floods that swept through cities and towns, wildfires that consumed entire landscapes. These natural disasters weren't isolated. They were global, affecting every continent in some way. But it wasn't just the physical world that was in chaos. Alongside these disasters, I saw economic instability. Businesses closing, markets crashing, people struggling to find even the basics like food and shelter. The uncertainty and fear were palpable, rippling through communities and nations. Yet, as I watched these events unfold, Jesus impressed something on my heart. These were not punishments. They were wake-up calls. Each disaster, each moment of chaos, was a reminder that the things we often place our trust in, money, possessions, earthly stability, are fleeting. These events were meant to redirect humanity's focus, to pull us away from worldly distractions and back toward God. The third vision was unlike anything I had ever imagined. It wasn't something I could see with my eyes, but something I felt deeply within. I was shown an unseen battle, a struggle between forces of good and evil. This battle wasn't confined to one place, it was everywhere. But more importantly, it wasn't just happening around us, it was happening within us. I saw how this spiritual battle was playing out in people's hearts and minds. The choices they made each day, how they treated others, what they prioritized, whether they embraced truth or deception, were shaping their souls. This battle was intensifying, growing fiercer as the forces of darkness worked harder to pull people away from the light. Jesus made it clear that this was a critical time for humanity. The choices we make during this period will reveal where we stand spiritually. It's not about perfection, it's about intention. Are we moving toward God or away from Him? The final vision was one of beauty and hope. I saw people from every nation, every background, every language coming together in worship. It wasn't confined to a specific church or denomination. It was a global movement of faith. These believers weren't divided by politics, culture, or personal differences. They were united by one thing: their love for God and their desire to live in His truth. This unity wasn't just a reaction to the chaos and battles, it was a preparation. I could feel it in my soul. These people were coming together to prepare for something greater, something beyond this world. It was a reminder that even in the midst of trials, there is hope. There is always hope. As the visions faded, Jesus looked at me with a love and urgency I will never forget. "This is what you must share," He said. "The world needs to know. They need to prepare to turn back to me and to stand firm in the truth." In that moment, I understood why I had been given this experience. It wasn't just for me. It was for you, for all of us. As the visions faded, I felt the weight of what I had seen. These weren't just warnings, they were invitations. Invitations for all of us to turn back to God, to prepare our hearts, and to stand firm in faith during the times ahead. If this story has touched your heart or made you think about your own spiritual journey, I urge you to take action. Open your heart to Jesus today. Seek Him, trust Him, and allow His love to transform your life. Please like this video, subscribe to this channel, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss more stories like this. Share this message with someone who needs to hear it. Together, we can help bring hope and truth to a world that desperately needs it. Thank you for watching, and may God bless you on your journey of faith.